Warrior 29-15 win over London Scottish this afternoon. Probably wasn't a classic match, but a 5-try win. And what are your thoughts after that one?
First of all, very pleased with the 5 points. I thought the guys worked really hard out there. I think I keep saying this to you week on week at the moment, but with these tackle laws, I think it's becoming very disjointed, the game. So I think for both sides, we both wanted a bit more rhythm into it, and it just kept being blown up.
Yeah, the disjointed seems like the absolutely correct word. The amount of penalties, I mean, it was just such a stop-starty game, wasn't it? It was so difficult for either team to get any kind of momentum.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's not the ref's fault. They've got to obviously play to these rules. Yeah, I just think it's very difficult. Rugby's a contact sport, and sometimes there's just a rugby collision there, and it's no one's fault. But the players on both sides are getting pinged and punished for it at the moment.
Yeah, let's go back to the first half. I think we scored 3 tries in the first 15-20 minutes. Tell us how pleased you were with that.
Yeah, again, I thought we, to be fair, the whole first half, I thought there was a couple of times we had to really sort of dig in and D up, and there were some other times where we really put our stamp on them. Some really good work around the corner. Our forwards and backs both carrying well together. It's just a shame we didn't get to go through the phases more and try and test them more and stamp our attack onto the game.
Yeah, the control in the first half seemed to be very good, particularly the platform from the scrum, and then you talked about going through the phases. Some of those tries were very nice kind of team efforts, weren't they?
Yeah, 100%. It's something we worked on a lot in the week. We're trying to evolve our attack. We spent a lot of time concentrating on our defence this year because we know it hasn't been up to scratch, and there's reasons for that. And we're just starting to come back now to look at our attack, and our attack's probably been neglected a little bit this year.
You mentioned about kind of it being disjointed. It certainly was in the second half. We got 1 try through Jordan Burns, who had a pretty good game today, didn't he?
Yeah, Jordan's playing well at the moment, so there's still definite room for improvement, but I think he's taking control and getting better and better each week. And Ryan's took the shirt after Carts got injured, and Jordan's responded well, and now it's up to Ryan to respond back.
Yeah, that's 3 wins in a row. How pleased are we with the last few weeks? Obviously local derbies are always tough games, and today was no exception.
Yeah, again, it's one that we're, as coaches, you're constantly looking at as to how we can get better. I think we're striving for a bigger all-round performance. I think we've scrapped out a few games in the recent weeks. But again, it's hard to determine how much of that is because it's disjointed with the amount of high tackle pens that are being given at the moment.
Was the defence probably the biggest positive today? I think apart from that quick tap and go which got them their late try, I think we would have obviously kept them to within single figures, which would have probably been the first time this season, I imagine.
Yeah, I thought the boys worked really hard. We spoke before the game about if they do score points, they're going to have to work extremely hard to do so, and I think we definitely showed that today. I thought, as I say, the work rate, some of the bits we'll show them next week was very good. Yeah,
we've set up a pretty big showdown with Jersey next week. Obviously always tough going over there, but how excited are we for what is a massive game next weekend?
Yeah, they're a good side. They beat us here, so we need to front up ourselves.
Jordan, a great win this afternoon to make it 3 wins on the bounce. How pleased are we after that to get our 3rd win in 3 London derbies in a row?
Yeah, really happy. It was a tough game. London Scottish made us work for every single point, but a 5-point win, and that makes it a crunch game next week in Jersey.
Yeah, just talk us through those kind of first 20 minutes or so. Obviously they scored pretty early, but then I think we got 3 tries in about 10 minutes. Seemed to be a real kind of focus about the players today.
Yeah, the attack spoke for itself. We spoke about in the week we needed to sort out our attack and be more clinical with it. We looked at Scottish and we knew what we could do against them, and it prevailed, and we managed to score. I think it was 3 tries in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, the scrum was extremely dominant today. Just as a scrum half, how much were you enjoying playing on the back of that today?
It's a lot of fun playing behind a very strong scrum. The ref tried to give us the penalty advantage, but the ball was always stuck inside. So we get the penalty, we kick in the corner, and also our maul was outstanding as well. We always got some good go forward, which helped.
Yeah, we kind of went through the phases quite a lot for those tries. They're kind of going through in the middle and then spinning the ball out wide. Just kind of showed the positives of just going through as a team, and I guess we were pretty pleased with those.
Yeah, in 22 we said we wanted to go through the phases, keep hold of the ball and wear them down. We knew if we had the ball for a long time, the space would open up, and I think on 2 occasions we wore them down enough and spun it wide, and the Looney and Will Harry's were to score.
Yep, in the second half they came back a bit, scored a couple at the end, but the defence today was surely the biggest positive, you'd have thought.
Yeah, defence was outstanding, defending our line for 20 phases or so, keeping them out, but we put ourselves in that position, stupid penalties, and just a bit of composure we needed when in the middle third. We gave away some stupid penalties and they were able to kick to the corners and put us under a lot of pressure. But our defence was very good when we kept them out for a majority of the game. Yeah,
they seem to have most of the possession in that second half. How difficult is it when I think we were 25 odd points up or something to kind of keep going?
It shouldn't be that hard. They put a stamp on it and just generally be able to put teams away. Once we've got that lead, we need to learn to have a bit of composure, play the territory, put them in the corners and just put pressure on them to play, because if we're ahead then they need to score the tries and we can just defend, and then they make silly mistakes in their own half and we get the ball back with a good attacking opportunity.
Yeah, for yourself, do you think that was probably your best performance in Ealing Trailfinders shirt so far?
Yes and no. 2 tries is always lovely. Sloaney and I think Rain made the breaks for me and I just was able to get on the end of them. Other than that, it was a good performance, bit of a few mishap kicks, but we'll move on from that and we'll look forward to Jersey next week.
Yeah, in terms of your performance, for some of the supporters who haven't perhaps seen it so far, do you reckon those 2 tries kind of were exactly what you're all about? You know, particularly that second one, slowly going through on the hard ball, and then you got the offload, and there's no one to catch you from there.
Yeah, I've played with Sloan before, so I know what he can do. I know what he does, and he's always able to get his hands free. So, and Rain as well. If I know if they're going to make a break, I can try and get at the end of it and find a little space for me.
Yep. Just looking forward now. I think due to the format of this competition, with pretty much virtually most of the teams going through, it looks like we're fairly set towards the quarterfinals. But how big is that game in Jersey next week? We'll go top of the pool if we get the victory.
It's a huge game. I mean, they beat us here last couple of weeks ago. It's a bit personal. I think we want to go there and I think we want to go and beat them. And we want to put a lot of pressure on them. But yeah, it's a huge game, big crunch game, and whoever wins goes top of the table.
Yeah, we've already mentioned it. 3 wins on the bounce. How high is the confidence in the group at the moment now, heading into what is a huge game next weekend?
Yeah, confidence is high. So obviously 3 wins on the bounce. It's always nice.
Slow down.
Thank you.
Sorry, pal.
You're all good.
3 wins on the bounce is always lovely. We get huge confidence from it, and then hopefully we can get 4 wins on the bounce against Jersey.
Elliot, a 29-15 win over London Scottish this afternoon to make it 3 wins in a row. Pleased with that one?
Yeah, it was really good fun to get out there again after a few weeks off, and just do the basics well and run around and hit things was quite nice. Got a bit scrappy in the second half, but I think we put a good shift in as a group.
Yeah, you mentioned about the basics there. Do you think that's what won us the game today? We kind of, similar to the second half performances of the last few weeks, we didn't perhaps do anything too spectacular, but we just quite a kind of strong all-round performance today.
Yeah, definitely in the first half. I think they were all like well-worked tries. There wasn't any one-off moments of magic. I don't think. Probably shows why I propped up man of the match as well. But really well-worked tries from like the 10s controlling the game down in the 22 to score in the corner. It was nice to see.
Obviously got the bonus point secured before half-time. That's been a real trait of ours this season, isn't it? It's a great quality to have that we're kind of racing in front so quickly.
Yeah, I think we tried to play a bit more expansive in the second half, and that probably cost us a little bit. I think we only got into their half maybe 1 or 2 times, and then just split the ball up a little bit too easily. Which would be nicer to put them to the sword a bit more.
In terms of the discipline this afternoon, obviously I think we got certainly on the wrong end of the referee in the second half. How difficult are you finding that high tackle law?
I'm quite short, so it's not too bad, and I think it's just we need to do some of our own work in our own time to get off the line and tackle low, whether that's doing extra drills or whatever that is. But like I said, being naturally short, I think it's my advantage just to chop low, so it's not too bad for me. I think it's the taller guys, the second rows, who are going to struggle a bit with that.
In terms of the tries we scored today, there weren't so much kind of individual efforts. They were kind of team plays where we went through the phases and then kind of earned the right to go wide. I guess that's a positive, the fact that we kind of went through the phases so much and kind of ground out the victory today. Yeah,
and especially in the first half. That's what we did. But in the second half, we seemed to go away from that a little bit. I think it's maybe we need to come together as a team more in the second half and work harder to run our phases in the second half instead of trying to go wide too early without earning the right. And that's been a trait in the Nottingham game, similar, where we just tried to force it a bit too much.
How pleased are we with the defence today? I know they kind of got a couple of tries towards the end, but on the whole, it looked very controlled.
Yeah, it was great. Line speed was great. It was a bit disappointing, that green zone defence. I think a few of us probably guilty of not working round hard enough and being switched on and smashing them back enough. But in the middle of the park, outside our own 22, we were just coming up in waves and waves and waves. Everyone buying into that line speed.
In terms of yourself, amount of match performance, you've been haven't played for the last few weeks, just been doing a bit of conditioning stuff. But how pleased were you to firstly get back out there and secondly put in a performance like that?
Yeah. Well, the first half an hour I thought it was quite easy, and then I had to do a few things at the end of the first half. So I went in blowing at half time, and then I seemed to get my second wind in the second half. So it was nice to get back out there.
And just leading on now, Jersey next weekend is a huge game. If we win that, we'll go top of the pool and pretty much secure our passage through. So how excited are we for that?
Yeah, it's going to be great. Get away with the boys for 2 nights, and I think we've got a point to prove. We've got pretty much everyone back, I think, so we're looking to go into that and build momentum for when they come back over here. So we want to go over there, turn them over, turn Richmond over the next week, and then get into them before Christmas and have a nice New Year.
Well done today.